Hello, everyone, and happy Monday to you all. I hope everyone had an amazing and productive Monday. Every time I make a video, somebody want to call me. That was my niece trying to duo me. I'm going to have to call her back later. So anyway, of course, I am here coming to you guys with a motivational message of the day. Well, at least I hope someone is motivated by this message. I just want to talk a little bit about sacrifice today. And I want to know if you take a look back over your life and over yourself and the sequence of events of your life over the years, how important do you think sacrifice would mean to you and your life in the position that your life is in today? Like, how important is sacrifice to you? Me personally, God has allowed me to be able to sacrifice many things over the years. He has given me the strength to not be afraid to step out on faith and just let some things go, to let some people go, to release myself from the things that was holding me bound. And by me making the sacrifices that I was able to make over the years, it had such a major impact on my life. So when I talk to you about sacrifice, I can literally speak to you about sacrifice on a personal point of view, because I know what it's like to have to let some things go and step into your new, step into what God has for you. Like, are you willing to make sacrifices even if you don't see a change initially, or if you don't see something turn around for you as soon as the sacrifice is made? Because a lot of times that just isn't how it happens. You have to be obedient. And sometimes we have all the red flags and all the signs, and everything that we need to know is right in front of our faces. And for whatever reason, we choose not to let things go for our personal reasons. And a lot of times we allow ourselves to be held bound because of whatever mental connection that we have in our head. Somehow we convince ourselves that if we let a certain thing go, we might not be able to cope with our lives on a regular basis because we are not holding on to that thing anymore. And it can be anything. We do that with material things. We do that with money. Sometimes we don't want to allow ourselves to give materialistic things. I know people who have things collecting dust in their closets, and I have literally heard them say, no, I can't give that thing away even though I haven't worn it for 5 years, but I paid this amount of money for it. But if it will bless someone else, why don't you just let it go? So sometimes we can have a mental connection that will not allow us to let certain things go. So I want to say to you today, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because by sacrificing some things in your life, you never know what you may be opening yourself up to. Sometimes we are so busy holding on to this thing or this person, or whatever it may be. We are so busy holding on to the old that we close ourselves up to the new and what God has for us. So I just want to say it is very important for us to learn to be able to sacrifice, even if we want to look at it in a different perspective, because everything is perspective. I mean, it's just always the way that we look at things. Like, even when something happens that might not be so favorable to us in our eyes, it just may be working out for our good. Like that actual thing that we see as happening as being negative might be the stepping stone for us on our way to our journey. God can be using us in any way and we just don't know. I'm the type of person that I just hate to question God, even in a lot of situations. I mean, there were terrible things that happened that I didn't understand, loved ones that I had to say goodbye to, that in my eyes, I felt like, they were too young to go, or why this person or whatever. And I just had to accept the fact that God might be using that person, or the death of that person, or that person's life, had to be sacrificed, for something else to be born. Maybe without that person going, then the next thing can't be born. So I always try to look at it in a light, instead of looking at it in the dark, because we never know what God may be doing to get his point across. There's a saying that says the Lord works in mysterious ways, and he does. We never know why he may be doing the things that he may be doing. I don't want to get too much into it, but God made the ultimate sacrifice when he brought his son here so his life can be sacrificed for us to live. A lot of people don't want to talk about that or even want to think about that, but Jesus made the ultimate sacrifice. I don't want to get too much into religion, but and I believe that sacrifice was made, just that ultimate sacrifice was made just so we can learn how to sacrifice even the smallest things. We might be holding on to the smallest things, and it might be to benefit someone else. I was listening to a motivational message by Denzel Washington. For all of you who know, he's a very successful, famous actor, icon, African American, and he goes down in history. He is one of the great, Denzel Washington. Everybody know him for being Fine Denzel. And he was saying how you can't take material things with you, and he was kind of making light of it, because he was saying that the Egyptians literally tried it. He said you would never see a U-Haul truck behind a hearse. That makes sense. I mean, unless that's just the way that the traffic was going, and 9 times out of 10, if it's a hearse and a funeral procession, then the family is following the hearse. But you will never see a U-Haul truck in the procession with the hearse, with the belongings of the person that is in that casket going to be buried with him, because you can't take it with you. And sometimes we value our things more than we value the truly valuable things in life. There are so many other things that are way more important than the materialistic things that we put such a great value on. And you can't. I mean, sometimes we have to sacrifice certain things, and I don't think we are very mindful of the fact that some of the things that we might be holding on to might be that thing that is preventing us from getting to our next step. It's preventing us from getting further. It is preventing us from moving along on our journey. So maybe it is time for us to let some things go, or sacrifice some things, or that thing that we might have that emotional connection to, or something that may have been passed down in generations, or my mama gave me this, or what have you. I have things that my mother gave me. My mother and my father, they gave me life. If it wasn't for them and the grace of God, I wouldn't even be sitting here before you all. So I don't have to hold on to material things. I can look at myself. I look just like my father. So if I want to think about him, or all I got to do is look myself in the mirror, and it's crazy how much I resemble my father. It is just it's crazy. I mean, everyone who knows know that I look just like him, so I don't have to hold on to materialistic things. A lot of time I just see it so often where we just have that connection to material things more so than the things that really matters the most in life. Money does not even matter most in life. Money is very important, and it is important that we all get to a place where we are comfortable in our finances, where we just don't have to struggle. I mean, I think it's really unfair how I don't know how true it is that rich people pay less taxes, and things like that. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, and I think it's very unfair, that things go on like that in our society. But still, you got some really miserable rich people out here. Like, that's all they have is money. You have some really happy poor people out here, that it is important that they have God and the grace of God in their life. They know how to cherish the people in their family. They know how to cherish their loved ones, and they know how to cherish peace. They have a moment of peace, and they learn how to glorify that peace just like people glorify things. It is people out here that learn to glorify love and peace and happiness and joy, that are rich with those kind of things. And if they were to take their very last breath today or tomorrow, if you can just look at their lives and know that they were some happy people. Some people wish that they had the happiness and the joy and the contentment that other people have. I mean, people envy it. They are jealous of it. A lot of people are jealous because they don't have the materialistic things that other people have. We all want the Gucci and the Prada and the yacht and the big house and the foreign cars and all of that, but it's things that are more valuable than those materialistic things. So I just want to encourage someone today, if you are holding on to something or even someone, we may be in relationships that are draining us, it's just draining us. You ever just take a wet rag and wring it out, and you just see all the liquid just coming out of that wet rag? I mean, we can be in a relationship and not only life partners, husbands, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, not just a that kind of relationship. I'm talking about in your family. You might be in a relationship with a family member that might be just draining you of everything that is inside of you, that is preventing you from getting to your happiness. If it's just time to let some things go, it is time to let some things go. I talked to you all about my addiction to nicotine, and how, Lord willing, I will be celebrating 6 years nicotine free after being addicted to nicotine for over 20 something years. I smoked cigarettes since I was a teenager. I was a teenager when I started smoking cigarettes. I was getting ready to say I don't remember the last time I had one, but I do remember, because it was a birthday gift to my mom the year after she passed away. I said, Mom, this one is for you. And I never smoked another cigarette another day in my life. And I never saw that for myself. I thought that I would smoke cigarettes every day of my life until the day that I die. When I stopped drinking and using substance to control myself and all of that kind of stuff. When I stopped drinking, I said, well, at least I still got my cigarettes. That's what I said. I said, at least I can still smoke my cigarettes. I ain't drinking no more. I ain't doing all that other crazy stuff no more, but at least I still got my cigarettes. And I didn't even plan on not smoking anymore. I just did it. I just did it. I knew that that was not the life that I wanted for myself, and I didn't want that for my children. I didn't want to continue to do that to my body. I wanted to live a healthy life. So I decided to walk away from those cigarettes amongst other things. I just had to say I just had to walk away from a whole lot of things, y'all. I had to walk away from the bad marriage. It was no good for me. And if I think about it, where God has me right now, and if I was so busy trying to hold on to that relationship that meant me no good, I would not even be where I am today. And I would rather have this me than the me that is trying to hold on to a relationship that is just no good for me. I would rather be where I am than be where I was. Let me just say it like that. So it was worth the sacrifice. I had to put the wife down. I did an amazing job at being the best wife that I could possibly be. I put all of my habits and all of my old ways behind me, and I put a lot into being an amazing wife. I really did, but it wasn't worth it. Sometimes we talk about being submissive to our mate, and we try just to be the best mate that we can possibly be, but we don't think about what are we submitting to. What kind of person are we being submissive to? Like, who are we being submissive to? Sometimes it's just not even worth you being submissive, or not. I'm not going to say not at all, just not to that person. So good job getting the practice in. And I'm talking to myself too. I did a great job at being submissive as a wife, but I just wasn't being submissive to the right person. So now I got my practice in. So when it's time for me to really put in the work next time, I'll know what to do, because I have done it already. I just did it with the wrong person. So, sometimes we just have to be willing to make the sacrifice to get to where God wants to take us. We are so afraid of letting our old selves go, our old habits go, our old ways go, our old clothes go, our old eating habits, because that's what our mama did. My mom used to eat chitlins. Honey, I ain't eating nothing on no chitlin. I don't want it. I just don't even want to, So sometimes we can just, we can see our family doing a certain thing, and we are scared to let it go because we are so used to seeing it, and everybody in our family did it, or whatever. Everybody in your family could be a doctor, and then not saying there's anything wrong with wanting to be a doctor or make that kind of accomplishment in your life, but if that's not what makes you happy, you don't have to go down that road. You can do what makes your soul happy. You can step out and be an astronaut. You can still be great, but just do it in your own way. We don't have to follow the footsteps of our loved ones, or what runs in the family. And they say sugar, diabetes, and blood pressure, high blood pressure runs in the family. No, it don't. None of that. None of that run in the family. Fried chicken run in your family. So we want to live a good quality life of longevity and good health. Then, pass up that fried chicken. Bake it. Bake it sometime. Throw a little bit of seasoning on it and just stick it in the oven if you got to have a piece of chicken that bad. It don't have to be saturated in grease every time if you have high blood pressure. Then we want to blame it on who had it before us. Is there a history of? I tell my doctors all the time what there is a history of on both sides of my family, my mother's side and my father's side, and it stopped here. Like it just did not go any further. By the grace of God, me and my kids, we good. So I thank God for that, but it don't run in my family. We just was so used to doing a bunch of things that was detrimental to our health, in my family that they just should not have been doing. So, the generational curses can stop with you. Your life can be whatever you want it to be. Be willing to make some sacrifices so you can walk into what you are really supposed to be. Sometimes it is worth every step of the way. So don't be scared to sacrifice. God bless you all. That is my Monday night message. Lord willing, I will be back tomorrow with another motivational message of the day. Y'all be blessed.